Hi, boys and girls. Last week we were practicing one-step number stories where we learned about how to understand, plan, solve, and check our work to find the answer. This week we are going to use those steps again, but we're going to practice and review two-step number stories. Now these are a little bit different than one-step number stories in that there are two things that we need to do to find the answer. Now the important thing that we need to think about when we solve these two-step number stories is we need to think about what's happening in the number story or what action is taking place. That will help us determine whether or not we need to use addition or subtraction to solve our steps and find the answer. So the first thing that we need to do on our checklist is to understand what we need to find out. So let's do that together by reading the number story. Sarah had 28 Legos. She gave 17 to Merlin. Then she found 31 more. How many Legos does she have now? So, like I said, there are two steps that we need to do to find this answer. We need to find out how many Legos does she have now. The first thing that we need to do to find out is plan. That is our next step on our checklist. So to plan, let's start by underlining and circling the most important information in this number story. So Sarah had 28 Legos. I'm going to underline had and I'm going to circle 28. That shows me how many Legos she had to start with. I also know now that Legos is our unit. She gave, I'm going to underline gave, 17 to Merlin. I'm going to circle 17. Now that already shows me what my first step is in this two-step number story. So I'm going to write step 1. And I need to now think about what number goes first. Well, I know that she had 28 Legos to start with, so I'm going to write 28. Then I need to find out, do I need to subtract or do I need to add? Well, she gave 17 to Merlin. If she gave 17 to Merlin, she's giving away Legos. Does that mean that the number of Legos she has should be bigger or smaller? Well, if she's giving away, that means that the number needs to be smaller. So we need to subtract. So 28 minus 17. Now, the other thing we need to do, and you'll be doing this on Seesaw, is we need to draw our thinking or draw what's happening. So I might show this, and you could show this in different ways. You might use a number line, or you might draw what's happening with the Legos, or you could use a number grid. I'm going to use base 10 shorthand. So to do this, I'm going to show 28, so I have 2 longs, and I have 8 cubes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now minus 17, that means that I have to take away 17. So I'm going to take away 1 long, that is 10 Legos I'm already taking away, and I'm going to take away 7 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now how many do I have left? I have 1 long and I have 1 cube, and that equals 10 plus 1 is 11. So I have 28 minus 17 is 11. Now we need to understand and plan our step 2. So let's move on. Let's read on from here where we left off. So then she found, I'm going to underline found because that's an action. That's showing me what's happening. 31 more. I'm going to circle 31 and I'm going to underline more. So again, in my head, I'm imagining what's happening right now. I'm seeing Sarah, she found 31 more. So that means that she's getting 31 more. So would the number be bigger or smaller? Well, if she found 31 more, the number should be bigger. So for step 2 then, this is very important. We already know that she found 31 more, but for step 2, we need to start with 11 because that's where we left off. So that 11 gets moved down to here where we start with. So that's how many she had. Then she found 31 more. So we already know the number needs to be bigger, so that means add. So 11 plus 31. So again, boys and girls, it's very important to remember for these two-step number stories, she started with 28, so we have 28. She gave 17, so we have minus 17, and that equaled 11. Then she found 31 more, so we have 11 after she gave those 17 away, plus 31. So 11 plus 31, I might show that again with base 10 shorthand. So I'm going to show 11, so we have one long and one cube, and then we have plus 31. So we have one long, another long, and another long. That's 3 longs plus another 1 cube. And that equals 4 longs and 2 cubes. And if we count that, we have 10, 20, 30, 40. So 40 plus 1, 2, 42. 11 plus 31 equals 42. And that is our final answer. But we need to check our work. So Sarah had 28 Legos. She gave 17 to Merlin. So I see 28 she started with in step 1. She gave 17 to Merlin. 28 minus 17 equals 11. So that's what she had then, after she gave away 17. Then for step 2, she found 31 more. So we have 11 plus 31 equals 42. How many Legos does Sarah have now? She now has 42 Legos. So then at the end, I need to write Sarah has 42 Legos. Don't forget, we need to write our unit always. So we always need to write our unit at the end of our answer. Just like I wrote 42 Legos. Now let's try one more example together. This next example is a little bit more challenging.